So I was gonna record from the beginning, but it turns out there's very little difference. But when the difference actually happened, I was not recording and I already skipped a few steps, so it was an awkward place to start. In any case, it turns out the girl who, in my first playthrough, is very accepting of your bite. In this one, I can't actually feed on her. Ventru just is very picky. And she was very disappointed. She was so sad. And Sophie was a little insulted by the fact that her refined palate was not up to my taste. Up to my standards. In any case. Last time I went with a tennis court. This time I'd like to try something different. Like the carpet pavilion. You make your way to one of the park's most well-known landmarks, the round skeleton of a New York State pavilion. I still don't know how the word is pronounced. I'm just using the pronunciation I would say in a different language. With its two vaguely futuristic-looking towers. You don't get lucky with a skate park. It's not deserted, instead a group of skaters is gathered there, talking loudly and listening to music playing out of a crackling smartphone speakers. Deciding to have a quick look around, you identify a potential victim. A sleeping bag lady, leaned back on the bench. A shopping cart full of what looks like trash nearby. Even thinking of that second option makes you sick. You decide to take your chances with the skaters, not even getting close to a homeless woman. You think back to what Sophie did in the hall, how she managed to focus the attention of the entire gathering on her. What might be a tall order for you, but a single person could be doable. You single out a guy who's talking on his phone away from a gathering. He's having a heated discussion with somebody, a relative, a partner. It's not going well.
Talk is over. I said shut the fuck up. Hey, you hearing me? Shut up. Call me when you get some fucking sense into your stupid brain, okay?
He ends the call abruptly and almost throws the phone to the ground in frustration. Rough night? Hey, sorry to interrupt. Hey man, I need some help. Rough night? He's got an angry expression on his face and tears welling in his eyes, but he gives you a curious look and even a bit of a shy smile.
Yeah, you could say that. What's up?
Come closer, let's talk. I got just a cue for it down there. I got something that will put a smile on your face. He takes a few steps forward away from his buddies, who remain totally oblivious to what's happening, but you see your influence fading. You take your chance and lunge. Your fangs sink into his exposed shoulder. He shivers and lets out a moan. His phone hits the pavement and you hear the casing crack. His blood tastes like a crash of hot emotion and melancholy, laced with some artificial stimulant you can't quite place. An energy drink? A recreational drug? It's a strange mix. You hardly have a time to savor it, as the proximity of a skater's friends make you feel vulnerable. You hastily finish drinking and drag the guy over to the pavilion. When you turn around, you realize you're not alone. A hooded man is looking menacingly at you.
What the think you're doing, barging in on my turf like this, lick?
Very good, Counselor Zvet. Didn't mean to trespass, I'm gone. I didn't mean to trespass, sorry, I'm going.
Too late for that, friendo. You want to live here in one piece, you talk candidly. I know what you are, so you can shove that masquerade misdirection up your ass. Now, better tell me who you're with before my pothy shows up and beat it out of you.
I don't know what I'm doing with that voice exactly, but yeah, I'm trying. I'm with Camarilla, here with Sophie Langley. Big talk coming from a chump. Let's go with that. You talk big, but I'm thinking you're just a chump. Wanna prove me wrong? He tenses up, gives you an extremely nasty look and bares his fangs.
You don't wanna push your luck, dumb fuck. My crew is in earshot, one shot away, and you're done. Done! You get what I'm saying?
I actually spit on a pop filter. Oh, that was an accident.
So, if you want to dance, let's dance. Once I'm through, I will hand you over to Kalchen and you're gonna be sorry but I didn't finish you off instead.
Yeah, let's go with that. Enough is enough. He won't be intimidated by this asshole. Leave now. His countenance changes, a cruel beast one moment, a humbled pup the next. He walks away just like that. How did he do it? Not wishing to tempt fate any further, he returned to the Unisphere, looking back over his shoulder to make sure you're not being followed. Two figures are visible near the sculpture, a man and a woman, tangled in a passionate embrace. No, not exactly. It's Sophie, feeding, and I've already seen this before. It occurs to be blah 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 blah. Man's unsure, blah 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 blah. Yeah, I already did that. Oh, Josephine, how did it go? You're about to answer when the same figure as before emerges from one of the alleys. He looks at the three of you, and the predatory smile creeps onto his lips.
Oh, you screwed dumb fuck. You think you can mess with my head and get away with it? Think you'll be safe with your friends? Well, I have friends too.
He takes a motion to shout, but the two things happen almost at the same time. First, the feeling of warmth and beauty emanating from Sophie flares up again, entrancing both you and the hooded thug. His shouts come as a weak, confused squeak. Second, Gregory produces a wooden stake from a holster under his jacket and slams it into the thug's chest. Just like that, in a few seconds, the posturing vampire is down on the ground, paralyzed. I see you made a friend, Josephine. Curious choice of company, I would say. Who is he? He knew I was a vampire. I don't know, but he knew I was a vampire. He mentioned the masquerade and called me a lick. Did he know? Did he know? How reckless of him, and rude. I don't think he is a part of any of our sect, however. Corona Park hasn't been claimed by anyone I know of. Curious. Let's go to the car. We'll put him in the trunk and present him to Kadir tomorrow night. I'm sure he'll be delighted to make this hoodlum acquaintance. Gregory carries the staked vampire and dumps him in the car. It's almost surprising that you can get away with just carrying throwing a stiff into your car and driving away, but as it later will turn out, all of this will be recorded. We'll pick you tomorrow night, same as before. What's going to happen to him? The usual, I imagine. Interrogated by Kadir, probably in the basement of a gallery. A quick trial with a prince in attendance, if she's there tomorrow night. His fixed execution as a verdict. This all sounds really familiar to you, and you can't help but feel a pang of guilt when you think about what awaits this guy tomorrow night. You haven't told me how your hunting went. Getting the hang of it, I would hope. I think so, yeah. I'll cope. I'm glad. She doesn't question you further. She seems distracted, not all there. Her thoughts drift and the car remains silent until you reach your apartment. We will pick you up tomorrow evening. Good night. Just like that, without any further courtesy, Sophie leaves, driven to her apartment by Gregory, with a body in a trunk. Right in the middle of Manhattan. Did you cross paths with situations like this in the past? Blah 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 blah. Yeah, so it's just the same as before. Who was he? Blah blah blah. You begin wondering if it's gonna be a night. Close your eyes. Sink into familiar voice. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I don't think I'll cut. You open your eyes. It's pitch dark here. The blackness of a coffin, drifting into the abyss. Oh right, well I grasp of a switch, flip it. A familiar cramped room with a steel door and no windows comes into view. You emerge from a bedroom fully awake, just like yesterday. Step, however, Sophie is waiting for you comfortably seated on a sofa in your living room space. A book in her hand, Melancholy of Resistance. The title sure is on brand. Good evening, Josephine. Yeah, how did you get inside? Good evening, Sophie. Sorry to have kept you waiting. To be fair, I haven't been here long. I was enjoying reminiscing about the time when I called this my haven. The decor was much different, of course. Come, we have an appointment. I received word Elysium would be called again tonight, on account of your unruly friend from Corona Park. This should be a great opportunity for you to mingle. Yeah, so it's just the same as before. How should I carry myself on inside? You never told me if there's any savor VtM. God, that's French and I don't know French at all. Kind of rules I should respect when talking to other vampires. Knowing that you're among your superiors is probably the most important. In our society, status comes with age. Pardon my sincerity, but you are insignificant. Not even associating with me can make the fact that you've been killed for barely a few nights be forgotten. So know your place, stay out of your superior's business, and show the utmost respect. Thanking the prince for sparing you, and maybe having a friendly chat with Kadir publicly might show your gratefulness for being part of Camarilla now. I would suggest you make it sincere. At any rate, you should behave yourself tonight. Remember what I told you about reflecting on me as your patron. I have the reputation to uphold in the court. Do not tarnish it. There it is. Yeah, all the same. Okay, that's gonna be the same as before again. Yet again it's the same. Harizika, his reply is just a crooked smile. Asshole, setting you with a curse that cut you off of your career, cheated you out of your ambitions, offering little in return so far, so that's different. You remind yourself that defeatism will get you nowhere. Mindfulness and the here and now, this is an opportunity. You will make the most of it, if only to spite everyone who doubts your true worth. Flaring up of whispers in the gallery hall breaks you out of your thoughts. Gregory enters the room. The jumpsuit-clad, inert vampire still staked on his shoulder. The show is about to start. Yeah, so I'm assuming everything's the same. Yes, he acts absolutely the same. Yeah. Hoodlum's willpower not to crawl. No, please don't hurt me. Yep, all the same. Look at him managing his own. I don't think that's a good thing to ask. Torture in an art gallery? Look how cultural do you all seem. Torturing somebody in an art gallery doesn't seem to faze you. Oh please, do keep your naivety to yourself. Power and violence have always been two sides of the same coin. Most of us here are far too old to bother with keeping up appearances. Excuse me. Sophie leaves your side and comes to the corner of a gallery of kindred blah 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 blah. So I'm gonna get an option here, right? Prince, glasses. Okay, ignore the thin blood. Let's go with Prince. You approach your Prince, trying to stay as respectful of her private conversation as possible. She glances at you as you step forward, her scrutinizing gaze mimicked by her companion. She addresses the dark-skinned woman before turning to you. Excuse me for just a moment, Samira. Yes, Josephine, what is it? I wanted to give my thanks. I wanted to ask about Sophie. I wanted to ask about Cameron. I wanted to give you my thanks. I wanted to thank you for sparing me, Prince. I realized it wasn't an easy decision to make, and I wanted to express my sincere appreciation. How thoughtful of you. She takes a long look at you before she continues. I didn't do it from a kindness of my unbeaten heart. You are an asset to Miss Langley and to the Camarilla. And to me. I believe I made the right decision. Prove to me and the other kindred of the city what it was so, and there might be more to your future nights than just survival and servitude. The dark-skinned woman looks impatiently at you and catches the prince's attention. Forgive me, that's all the time I can spare right now. We have some things to discuss with Samira still. Enjoy your night, Josephine. Same to you, Prince Bernhard. Just bow and leave without comment. Same to you, Prince Hard. And same to you, Prince Bernhard. Prince nods and turns to the other woman to continue their conversation. You notice Sophie mingling with other kindred clearly in her element and not to be disturbed, so I still have some time. Man with the glasses. Man notices your attention, but it takes a few minutes before he pauses his mingling for long enough to actually approach him. He looks at you quizzically. Thomas Arturo. Pardon? Who? Is that your name? Pardon? It's my name. I assumed you'd like to know. I know you. By name only, of course. Josephine. Embraced just a few nights ago, huh? Well. How on death is treating you? I'm coping. Beginning to like it. I'm miserable, to be honest. I'm beginning to like it. Oh, already? Fast learner, are you? Good. Attitude to have. It'll take you places. He takes a moment to clean his glasses, ignoring you completely until he's done and puts them back on. I'm sorry, got a bit distracted, you know, most of us don't need to wear levis, right? I can see just fine without them, but it's a statement. Well, those damn things keep catching specks of dust and other assorted shit, though. Never stay clean for long. Sometimes I think it's more trouble than it's worth, wouldn't you say? If it's a pain I wear them, they look good on you. They look good on you. Really. You bet they do. Alright, that was a nice chat, but I have to catch up with a few other fellows tonight. Talk to you later. Jeannie? Hey, Jeannie. He doesn't even give you a chance to say goodbye. He's already off, grabbing 2 glasses of a concierge tray and handing one of them to a mustachioed man nearby. Such a difficult word to say. A loud exchange near the staircase grabs everyone's attention. Kadir's back and the hoodlum is with him. The sheriff pushes his unfortunate victim inside the room. Vampire that threatened you last night is a mess. That stupid head and blah blah blah. He is different. Who do run with her? Coward and a coterie. Yeah. Okay. Final death. Yeah, that's all the same. Stop Howard. Okay, last time I actually had an option, but it wasn't Dominate. It was Potence. So different vampire clans actually, you do get slightly different options. Interesting. But I'm assuming it's gonna be the same, so let's try not intervening at all this time. You have a feeling Howard's effort is fruitless. Just a few seconds later that feeling is confirmed. He almost reaches the window. Almost, but not quite. In what seems like a blink of an eye, Kadir appears near his scabbarded sword in one corner of the gallery, and then appears next to the escaping Anarch on the opposite side of the room. Next moment Howard's head flies off his body, baseball cap free. His lifeless body crumples to the ground and begins to decompose in real time. It's an uncanny sight. As always, our sheriff does not fail to impress. I would like to thank Miss Langley for bringing this Anarch thug to mine and Kadir's attention. I assume you all have found the verdict satisfactory. It's a rhetorical question and everybody here knows it. And I consider tonight's meeting concluded. Good night to you all. She steps out of the room and you see many of the guests motion to do the same. Sophie seems to be conversing with somebody, a serious-looking man in a trench coat, about what transpired. I don't remember any of those before. Serious-looking man in a trench coat. I don't know who that might be. Kadir. Let's talk to Kadir. Sheriff mood seems to have improved, so we decide there won't be a better shot at saying your piece. He's just sheathing his sword as you approach him. He notices you before his face turns from a melancholic frown to his regular predatory smirk. You seem to have caught him at a moment of reflection. What is it, Josephine? I wanted to thank you for bringing me here. Is everything alright? I wanted to thank you for bringing me here. Here in one piece, for giving me a chance. Emotion creeps onto Kadir's face, but you haven't seen the sheriff exhibit yet. Is that gratitude? It's fleeting, only there for a moment, gone in the blink of an eye. It was trying on my nerves, and you're still far and away from proving what it was the right thing to do. So don't think what a few kind words will let you off the hook. I wonder how does it feel to bring your lamb to the slaughter the way you did tonight? Do you feel any remorse, regret? I'm going to enjoy guessing. If there's nothing else, I'll be taking my leave. Why are you so mean? Do you enjoy being sheriff? Can you tell me something about Sophie? I was wondering if you could tell me something about Sophie. She talks a lot about Camarilla and other things, but I barely know anything about her. Oh, I can tell you something about Sophie. Some things she wouldn't want you to hear. Like the fact that she's manipulative and vindictive. But then again, which of us kindred aren't? Want to know more about Sophie's past? Ask her. She's unlikely to tell you the truth, though. I'm quite sure she never told me, despite our previous history. Oh, okay, that's interesting. That's what we do, Fledgin. Exist for centuries and we lie. To our families, our friends, our lovers. To our kindred sires and children, to ourselves. He picks up the swords and turns out to the stairs. Good night. And watch yourself. You messed up my batting average, so I'll be sure to keep a close eye on you. With that final threat, he leaves the gallery. It's right about what Sophie also ends her conversation and walks over to you. Oh, okay. That sentence is confusing. I think I got confused the last time as well. In any case, this, I think, is the same as the last time. Yep. I'll have something to discuss with you. Trust need to be earned. I'll be there. Okay, I'll come over first thing tomorrow night. I appreciate that. That silence again. There's definitely something on Sophie's mind tonight, but she doesn't seem eager to share it with you just yet. I'm leaving for another visit. Come downstairs with me, we'll give you another lift. Ship with some polite goodbyes and promise that you'll show up tomorrow later. You open the door to your haven and gather your thoughts. It's exciting in a way being dragged deeper and deeper into the secret society, and yeah, it's all the same. Oh boy, I can't wait till I actually get some deviation. He's probably looking for you. You're almost hoping a few co-workers would seem to give a shit about you or faking it. It would make things easier. Fresh start from ground up, just like old times. These thoughts put you in a weird mood. Yep, it's all the same now again. I think that's what I said last time, so let's go with this. Hey, am I interrupting something? She doesn't react immediately, but seems to snap out of some meditative state and looks at you with strangely bleary eyes. Yes, you are, but that's alright. I've been meaning to ask you something. When you look out of the city, when you see lights, hear the hum, smell the rain on the pavement, what do you think about? You gaze out. Lights and rain, relentless honking below, music blasting, blah 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 blah. Oh. Didn't I get an option last time? Could've sworn there was something. Uh-huh. Okay, so she doesn't say anything special. What's my clan? Okay, Bruja, that's a stupid question. How can tell Kindred's clan? That's what I asked last time, I think. Can't stick together, right? Let's go with what's my clan. Do you know what my clan is? No, I can only guess it based on certain aspects of your behavior and tastes. You will need to come on your own conclusion and seek validation from your clanmates, if you require such a thing. As you will no doubt learn, some kindred fit those stereotypes more than others. Blood is hard to deny, though there are certainly those who try. But that is perhaps a subject for another time. I invited you for a reason. There is something I wanted to speak to you about. It's customary in our society, especially among younger kindred, to organize into coteries. Sometimes those are called by Prince. Okay, yeah, so she's just gonna... what if I want to go with it alone? Do you have your own coterie? I do have those I trust enough to work with, yes. Not a coterie exactly, though I have joined several of those over the years. Not in over a century, though. You, however, it would do well to meet some of the city's young kindred and see if you can find a connection. It's an essential experience for one so young. She puts on a mysterious smile. Okay, so yeah, again, it's the same. Thanks, I guess? I know this might feel awkward, but trust me, it's the easiest way. You'll find you still have much to learn, but it's best if you have many tutors. So let's start with Tremere. Okay, so yeah, exactly the same, blah 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 blah. Let's go with that. So, by getting to know this Agathon, I can get closer to someone higher up the ladder. Yes, well, no, immediately I would imagine. Aislinn finds herself in a somewhat precarious position, both in the city and her clan. Every move she makes is heavily scrutinized, thus she has learned to tread lightly. Yeah. Blah 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 blah. Okay. What connection does he have? You mentioned this D'Angelo has some useful connections. I was just getting to that. D'Angelo does odd jobs for Kadir, digging up dirt, locating kindred who would prefer to remain hidden, the kind of work that Nosferatu are best at. He's on case right now, something to do with Khan murders, I think. Okay, so again, there's very little deviation so far. Should I contact the Camarilla clans? I get the impression that contacting vampires who aren't in the Camarilla was frowned upon, but you're saying that those gangrel aren't a part of the sect anymore. How does that work? It's not as clear-cut. The gangrel as a whole have sworn off Camarilla, but the individual kindred of that clan can still hold our ideals. Jezebel was one of them, before she became jaded. Besides, their domain in Prospect Park has been upheld by Prince Panhard for all these years, has it not? We consider them members of the sect, and they have, for the most part, kept to themselves. Perhaps it will take a young kindred such as yourself to make them realize where their loyalties lie. So you see, seeking out Tamika could prove quite educational, if nothing else. And who knows, perhaps you'll find her temperament to be a welcome change of pace. Okay, so that's the same as well. She doesn't sound like my type. Truth be told, she doesn't sound like my type. Like I said, it wasn't for the fact that I'd like you to get to know members of different clans and hear their perspective. If it wasn't for the fact I'd like to kill... Hope wouldn't be on my list necessarily. But if what I heard about her is true, you should at least seek her out and give her a chance. You might be pleasantly surprised. Yeah, last time I wasn't pleasantly surprised. I'd rather save her for last. But yeah, I'm gonna go to her and agree this time. Okay, so I get my choices this time. So last time I went with these two especially. Blood magic and hope. Let's go with blood magic and try not to screw it up this time. So all of this is the same again. Is Agathon in? Okay. All of this is the same. Okay, so this is where I screwed up last time. In above and about book blah blah blah. High region sounds important. How to know who I am? Okay, that's what I said last time. And I don't think she liked that very much. Let's try that. High regent of a chantry? Over 5 boroughs. That's quite a mouthful. It might sound fancy, but that's because that's a well-established tradition behind it. One you'd be wise not to ridicule. Some might take offense. Me for one. What is it what you're here for? I hear a good thing about Agathon. I was expecting to find Agathon here. Sophie mentioned Agathon to me. Crap. I'm not exactly sure what I said last time, actually. I was expecting to find Agathon here. Let's go with that. Didn't expect to meet you here. I came here to find Agathon and talk to him about working together. As you might have gathered, he is busy at the moment. So am I, in fact. So unless there's anything else... Suddenly, man enters from a side room. He doesn't even look at you, lost in his own thoughts. I have it, Aislinn. I know. I think I know how to find it. I think I should do a different voice for him. Not if I do this again. He catches himself as he notices you. His face turns sour. Is it so? Yes, we were just discussing you, in fact. Is that so? Sophie Langley recommended you. I'm looking for allies. Let me introduce myself. Sophie Langley recommended you. Yes, Sophie Langley recommended that I can contact you about teaming up. Teaming up? He seems very confused by the notion. What's for? I could assist you in your work for a company. What else? I could use your knowledge. I could use your knowledge. I could use your knowledge. Well, I could use your knowledge. I'm new here, and a scholar like yourself could teach me a lot, I imagine. You're not wrong. He turns to Aislinn. Oh, Regent, may I ask your advice on this? Aislinn looks at you with nary a sign of emotion. I believe that you have far more pressing matters to attend to at the moment, my child. That is my intuition as well, Regent. It's settled then. I would kindly ask that you leave Fledgling. We have many matters to discuss, matters not meant for undiscerning ears. Both of the warlocks look at you expectantly. Let's go with that. Wait, please, I didn't mean any disrespect. I'm sorry if I started off on the wrong foot. Ah, shit. What can I say to make it up to him? Offer my help if you need it. Let's go with that. Listen, frankly, I'm not sure what it is you want to hear. Is there anything I can say to make it up to you? You misunderstood me. It's not about what you're willing to say. Talk is cheap. But if you're willing to actually do something for us, you might be useful in our current predicament. What do you have in mind, our Regent? Why don't you start by giving our intern here a brief explanation of what it is you're after? Oof, okay, I got it. They didn't kick me out. Great. Oof, okay. Okay, I don't need to repeat everything again. Agathon gives Aislinn a hesitant look, but the woman nods approvingly. Encouraged, he turns toward you. A member of our clan disappeared without a trace a handful of nights ago. While the High Regent investigates if any foul play was involved, I have been tasked with recovering her research notes. If there is anything left to recover, that is. I may have an idea where to start looking, and I suppose this is where you come in. If you truly wish to help, I could use your assistance tonight, right now in fact. Given the time we just wasted on idle chatter, I should leave immediately. What's this research about? Who is the missing person? What's the rush? What the research is about? Let's go with that. That research sounds pretty important, what it's about. A single glance at Aislinn is enough. You can tell you're not getting an answer, at least for now. It's important to us, and that's all you need to know. These people aren't in the habit of making things simple. Based on layers upon layers of secrecy, you can only hope what lies beneath is the real deal. Now made it out. Coming or not? Sure, I'll join you. Yeah. Very well. He gives Aislinn a slight bow. No, Regent, with your permission. She nods. Before you go, however, Josephine, defer to Agathon on all things. Our clan values obedience above everything else. Prove you can follow, and this might turn into a mutually beneficial relationship. I will await his return, and his report. Good luck, my child. Agathon bows and heads out, urging you to follow. The High Regent watches you leave. Outside, Agathon leads you to his car. It's almost funny seeing him get behind the wheel. Somehow you'd expect a more mystical means of transportation. You drive south, heading to the lower east side. Agathon seems lost in thought. Either that or he's a very careful driver. Either way, several minutes pass in silence. Also, his eyes are really freaking creepy. Remain silent. So the High Regent is your sire. So where are we going? I don't get my person saying it. Okay. Williamsburg. That's a place where our missing colleague frequented. He seems to be thinking of the right words before he decides to address you again. Let me ask you something, or me. It's like a couple of corridors kindred in New York. How do you seek me out specifically? Why? Sophie spoke highly of you. Sounding interesting. I'll just give it a shot. Sophie spoke highly of you, let's go with that. Once Sophie spoke highly of you, she gave me a short list of people to meet. You were on it. Oh, I see. Once more he grows silent. You're unsure whenever to continue prying as your driver seems to disappear into his thoughts. You drive into Williamsburg and stop by a fancy-looking building. Yeah. There's a restaurant at the top floor. You wanted to help? There's a chance. I needed to get us inside the VIP lobby. You recognize the place. It's where you were embraced a mere few nights back. Funny how this restaurant is apparently a vampire magnet. Well, ain't that a kink-a-dink? Once we're in, I need about half of an hour of focus and some space. It'll be up to you to keep attention away from the room. Can you do it? He doesn't wait for an answer and points to the front door. Go ahead. I'm right behind you. The two of you take up the elevator up to the restaurant. The door opens and you can see that there are only a few guests left, sitting at their tables. An important-looking staff member approaches you. Good evening. I'm very sorry, but the restaurant is closing for the night. I can make a reservation for the next week if you wish. Location scouting. I'm a special kind of client. Let us in. We insist. Oh, but we insist. You will let us enter the VIP lobby and stay there for as long as we like. Oh, but of course. Please come in. You walk in, trying to look casual, and make your way towards the VIP lobby. You step inside and close the door behind you. This is a familiar sight, the same place where you had your last meal as a mortal. Strange, you should feel something, but the lavishly decorated room looks almost plain to you. Your companion looks at you with something akin to admiration, or at least that's how you choose to interpret the slight change in his usual somber facade. Not bad at all. He inspects the room. It's unusually cold, and Agathon soon discovers why. Looking behind the curtain, a window hangs open. The handle and lock looks like we've been dissolved, as with acid. God damn it, Juno. Looks like she's gone. Whoever Juno is, it looks like she's no longer here. A flash of fury sparks in his eyes. Yeah, no kidding. He takes a frantic look around the room. This changes things. Keep an eye on the door. I'll need some time, half an hour at the very least. Nobody disturbs me, understand? He hastily pushes a couch and some potted plants out of the way, moves a bar stool and takes out a curved knife. Cutting into his own arm, he lets out some of his blood drip onto the wooden floor. It's pretty fucked up, the way his flesh oozes deep red, thick vitae. In life you'd have found it stomach churning, but right now you feel weirdly turned on by the sight. What follows is more disturbing yet. With one hand he sheathes the knife and seals the wound. With the other he smears the blood around him while muttering some weird chant. It sounds vaguely Latin, but you're pretty sure it isn't. It's all more than a little disconcerting, but he seems to know what he's doing. A few moments later the circle starts to glowing faintly as thin wisps of smoke surround Agathon. He sits down in the middle, legs crossed, eyes closed. Minutes pass. Agathon's face twitches from time to time, and his head turns every now and then, as if he was looking around or listening in on a conversation. Smoke grows thicker, forming a veil around the mage. You expected something more flashy, but it's still a sight to behold. You wonder what the point of it is, but refrain from asking. It's probably best to let Agathon do his thing. For close to 30 minutes you're left to your own devices. Suddenly the door swings open and the manager storms in, ready to raise hell. Initial haze must have worn off quicker than usual. I'll give him to buy time. Calm him down. Blood is showing up. I guess I used my powers too much. Let's argue. I start to shout and match with the manager. He seems almost happy to oblige. You can tell he's dealt with problematic customers before. You go back and forth for a while until his face becomes red and his voice grows hoarse. At some point he looks just about ready to throw the first punch. That's when Agathon finally gets up the floor. He shakes his head and casually walks over to the sofa, picking up something from between the cracks in the upholstery.
Hey Johnny, let's go.
Who the hell do you think you are? Get out of my restaurant this instant! Not wanting to make the situation any worse, you walk out sheepishly. Manager follows you all the way to the elevator, shouting and cursing. Agathon doesn't seem particularly fazed by any of this. Restaurant staff throws you some curious glances as you walk towards the elevator, but wisely decide not to bother you. Ride down feels tense. You half expect to see a police car waiting outside. Agathon only seems to relax once you're back in his car. He starts the engine and takes a right at the Continental Army Plaza, back onto the bridge towards Manhattan. You're just about to say something, but Agathon beats you to it.
That went better than I expected, all things considered.
It might have been a trick of a light, but you're pretty sure you just saw a smile.
I'm used to working alone, but what I'm dealing with right now, it might require some more assistance. At least seem capable enough.
Thanks, I guess. Found what you came for? Let's go with thanks. Gee, thanks. I think that's your way of sharing me praise. Why are you so sarcastic? I was trying to be nice. And yet the response I got is actually sarcastic. What the hell? You could swear you just made him smirk.
It's fine. Once you really impress me, I'll be sure to let you know.
Doesn't take you long to reach Warlock's hideout. Agathon waves you at you absent-mindedly, once again lost in his thoughts, hopelessly so. One of these nights you should probably take him up on his offer. Who knows, if you gain his trust, maybe you can actually break through his stoic facade and meet the man underneath.